it is safe. If I'm nobody special, so if I'm doing this trip on a scooter while being a teacher and not so young age anymore and not with a lot of money, I can tell you that because everybody thinks that you need to be rich. No, I'm pretty broke all the time, and yet I'm managing to traveling around Italy, on a scooter, and I'm safe. Nothing bad happened to me, and people are really, really welcoming and diverse. So I hope this message comes through.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Design Her Travel podcast. I'm your host, Kim Anderson. As an avid traveler, global nomad, and someone who considers themselves a citizen of the world, I want to say welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. My hope in creating this podcast is to inspire you to take the leap of faith and to design the life of your dreams. For me, that includes connecting with like-minded individuals and creating a community of souls living their best lives out, in, and around the world. Each week, you'll hear stories and conversations from fellow travelers who have figured out how to incorporate travel as a key component in their daily lives. Their stories are beautiful and inspiring, just like you. I can't wait to go on this journey with you. So let's do this. Here we go. Today's episode is brought to you by Acorns Investment. Are you dreaming of exploring exotic destinations, but your budget seems to be holding you back just a little bit? Well, let me introduce you to Acorns, the innovative investing platform that's not just about growing your savings, but also about nurturing your wanderlust. By effortlessly rounding up your everyday purchases to the nearest dollar and investing the spare change, Acorns helps you build a travel fund without even noticing. Think of it as planting a small financial seed that blossoms into unforgettable adventures. Whether it's sipping an espresso in Rome or trekking through the lush rainforest of Costa Rica, Acorns can turn your everyday spending into your dream travel experiences. Sign up now using the link in show notes and get $5 when you make your first investment. Rules and restrictions apply. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Design Her Travel podcast. I am so excited for today's guest. Today, I have Valentina Merico, a former corporate warrior turned wanderlust-driven travel blogger and digital nomad. She traded in the boardrooms for the open road, exploring exotic places across the globe, and is now rediscovering the hidden gems of her own country of Italy. She is exploring Italy on a trusty little scooter and documenting her journeys along the way. So welcome, Valentina. Thank you so much for joining me today on Design Her Travel.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
I love so much about your story. All of your information is so positive, and I love witnessing your social media posts and what you do online. It feels so joyful and just so full of life. Where are you currently in the world?
So right now, I actually interrupted my trip around Italy just for a little bit, just for 3 weeks, because I'm taking a very small vacation in the island of Tenerife, which is one of the Canary Islands. They belong to Spain, but actually they're right off the coast of Morocco. I'm in front of the Sahara Desert.
Looks so amazing. I can't wait to visit there. Everyone has an interesting story on what the motivation is from why they decide to leave the corporate world. And so why did you decide? How did you go from corporate world? What was the genesis for that decision?
So I wouldn't say that it was a one day to the other kind of decision. It was very gradual because I really liked my job in the corporate world. It really gave me a lot. I learned a lot and it made me the person that I am now. Then when I reached what one would call the peak of the career, then it's not that I was feeling unfulfilled, but I had this feeling that there is more, but I just didn't know what this more was. So I just went for the next promotion and for, the next big salary increase, or I don't know, the next big project. I was about to move to the United States, to Seattle, thanks to this job. And then before that, I decided to take a sabbatical. So I took 5 months off and then I started traveling solo back as a backpacker in South America. And I would say maybe there was something already inside of me, this little voice telling me that there is more, but definitely this trip was the one that really, made it clear for me, and it changed my life and made me question, make me ask myself also very uncomfortable questions like, who are you? What is your identity? Are you just the Amazon girl? Are you just, like the manager and this and that? So what else is in there? So it was a very gradual process. And South America was really the place that made me understand maybe there was more. And so long story short, came back to where I was living. That was Luxembourg. And I told my manager I wasn't moving anymore to Seattle. Actually, I was quitting. And then I sold everything that I had. And then I left to go to Southeast Asia with one-way ticket and never looked back.
I love that so much. I love that you went from moving and going through promotion to just saying, total 180 pivot, we're changing. Now you are a digital nomad. So you work online, you support yourself, you have a travel blog. How did you build a business from corporate world into digital nomad?
So I had the idea that at some point I wanted to be fully remote, but also that was something that arose from necessity. So I didn't really, I receive a lot of questions from people on my blog say, how do I become a digital nomad? I think, I don't know, you just start living the life of one before you understand how to become one, because it's not a decision that I took, by sitting down and planning carefully everything. I got stuck when I was in Southeast Asia, especially in Cambodia during COVID pandemic. And at that point, because of COVID and because of my life choice of leaving everything behind, I lost everything that I had. So for me, it was really out of necessity, like my travel blog has always been just something that I do for passion. So I don't monetize it. So I wasn't earning any money from the blog, and I don't still. So I needed to find another job. And I was in Cambodia again. So I couldn't, speak the language. I couldn't find much more. So I was forced to find something to do online. And thanks to other people, that surrounded me, I found this website where I currently work teaching Italian to foreign students. And so this is how I became a digital nomad. Now, probably I would have chosen something else. I was looking also how to become a virtual assistant, all these chat programs where you can do like customer service as well. The problem is not the opportunities, because out there is full of opportunities to become a digital nomad. It's really, you need to understand what works best for you and really build the life that you want around your necessity. So I don't know if there is a trick or a secret that I can share. For me, it was just like, oh my God, what can I do if I want to keep on eating? And then luckily it became a job that I really, really love, enjoy, and I hope that I can do for a long, long, long time.
I think there's a lot there. You're right. There are many options, but no matter what someone chooses, working in an unfulfilling job is unfulfilling, even if you change your scenery. So I love that you have found something that really fills your passion, even though if you were to, quote unquote, like plan it out, it might not have been the route that you have chosen. So you are a full-time language teacher. That's currently what you do? And so how do people find you? Is it through a platform? Are you independently employed? Like, how does it work?
Yes, there is this platform that it's called Preply, and it's for any kind of teacher. So it's Preply, not just for language teacher. So any kind of teacher can apply there. And I think it offers a very good service. And now it's been 4.5 years that I work through them. Yeah, I think it's a great platform. But there are so many platforms out there. If someone wants to go into, becoming a teacher, for me, again, it was completely by chance, but I love it now.
And so now you're living the digital nomad life. You have decided to explore your own country and play tourist in your own country. And you're doing it for me, it feels like such an Italian way. You are traveling your country and documenting your travels, but the way you're getting around is on a Honda scooter. So how did you come up with that? I love that. There's so much about that that's amazing. So how did that become your gig?
Yeah, it's very Italian. And at the beginning, I didn't even pay too much attention about how much of a stereotype of myself I became. But it's not on a Vespa, though. That would be the ultimate, a red Vespa. That would be the ultimate stereotype. Well, I always loved the two wheels. My father was really into motorbikes. And since I was a kid, he is bringing me along with him on the ride. And then when I was in Asia for 2 years, I ended up living in Asia during the pandemic. Then I explored the whole Southeast Asia on scooters, motorbike. And so when I came back to Europe, I decided I wanted to go back to my home country. And like you said, discover it through the eyes of a tourist, not as an Italian person. So I only wanted to focus on the positive side, which luckily there are a lot. And I wanted to do it on a motorbike just because I enjoyed it so much when I was in Southeast Asia. But for a lot of bureaucracy reasons, I wasn't able to take the driving license for motorbikes. And so I could only drive something that was 125cc or less. And so I decided, hey, I always had a scooter when I was living in Italy. I love scooters and I think it's the perfect way to visit Italy. Nobody has ever done that before. So why not? I'm going to be the first one to do it.
And I can imagine, I mean, traveling on a scooter, you would see even more than you would see on a motorcycle because you're traveling slowly, you're taking in the sounds, you're doing all of these things. So tell us about that journey. Did you plan it out, like all of the places that you want to go? Are you being supported by tourism boards at all along the way? Does that help you decide where to go? Like, what's your journey like now?
That's a very good question. I'm a planner, like all the people who know me and my friends will tell you. I'm like almost a psychopath when it comes to planning. And every time that I go somewhere, I plan basically city by city, what there is to see, even to the details where to sleep and where to eat. Also because I'm a budget traveler. So I cannot just, in some countries you can improvise. For example, Southeast Asia, South America, because they're not very expensive. But, with my job, I don't earn as much as a standard salary, let's say. And Italy is also a little bit more expensive than what I remember it to be. And so I really need to plan in order to stay in my budget. And I also plan to see every single city basically out there. So if you see my map, I have this Google Maps where I put, all my legends of places to visit. I think I need to change the way I'm traveling. So until now, I've done 15,000 kilometers and I visited more than, 700 places. That's not feasible. That's not sustainable. I'm learning along the way. I think I have to be a little bit better in narrowing down and how to visit, a complete region, but without visiting any single town. Currently, there's nobody really, backing me up or sponsoring me. Well, Honda actually is aware of my trip and they're paying for regular checks on the scooter. And I update them regularly as well. They give me some visibility on social media. But other than that, I finance my own trip because I really want to have this freedom that I was just talking about to change course of direction or to learn from my mistakes. I don't want it to feel yet another job or another chore. I just wanted to feel amazing. And it was amazing, even if really, really tiring.
That's a lot of kilometers of travel. And so you started when?
So I started September of 2022. Yeah.
Okay.
And then let's say that the break that I'm taking now started 6 months ago, almost 7 months ago, because of some health issues. I had to take a little break. Now, hopefully the health issues are resolved or being resolved. So I'm counting on starting again from where I left off in May.
Okay. And is this for a set amount of time or just until you've seen everything? Or do you have like an end goal?
Another very good question. So in theory, until I've seen everything, but I'm starting to realize that if I don't change my approach to this trip, I'm probably going to spend the next 20 years just traveling Italy. I just don't know how to narrow it down because really it sounds like a cliche, but Italy is so beautiful and also so diverse. Until now I've done only the south, the islands, and a little bit of the center of Italy. So I still have the entire center of Italy, the whole Sardinia, which is a word on its own, like it was the case for Sicily, and then the whole north of Italy. So at least another year, I know, and I'm available, to spend in this project. And then we'll see. I also miss a little bit the kind of network of other digital nomads that I used to have in other countries outside of Italy. Italy is really not a major destination for digital nomads. This trip that I'm doing is very lonely, let's say, because you never stay too long in the same city. You have to change every 3, 4, 5 days. And I don't really have a lot of time for socializing because I'm either driving my scooter, working, giving my lessons, or editing my posts and writing articles for my blog. So I really miss a little bit, brainstorming with someone, even about my job. When I was in Southeast Asia, these other people being teachers, I could tell them, hey, how do you teach this? Or how do you deal with a student that is getting bored of your lesson, for example? So I miss all of that kind of exchange. So this is definitely a different kind of trip that I've taken, a different kind of project.
Yeah, I can see where if it were fully open-ended, it could never end, So, and it's true. It's like how putting some parameters on it also, it's like creating goals, and then it gives a little bit of a focus. So what is it, I'm curious, as an Italian, what is it that you've discovered about your country that has surprised you? Or what is it that you hope people gain through what you're doing?
Other than the obvious, meaning, the wonderful history and architecture that we have. And especially, as a language teacher, I love everything that has to do with language, but also that has to do with our history, all the, countries and populations that conquered us and that left a mark. And all of this really contributes to how diverse people are. I don't think that someone thinks about Italians and Italy as such a diverse country. You're like, okay, they're Italians. There's nothing exotic about it. No, this is what I'm discovering. Like, people are really diverse. Every region is different from another region. It never gets boring for me because every time that I change city, location, region, it's almost like I'm going into a new destination where we have different local food, different languages. Because don't forget that in Italy, we speak more than 252 dialects. Okay. And some of them are like a language of their own. So even though we all speak in Italian with one another, then you have all these different dialects and variations, and then architecture, food, and just people. And the people are also so welcoming. I thought that, Italy is still a traditional country. Maybe how would I struggle being a solo female traveler on a scooter? People would think I'm crazy. The answer is yes, they do think I'm crazy, but I don't struggle because they've been so welcoming and I felt so safe the whole time. People really welcome me with open arms in their houses, in their families. I met some amazing people along the way. So I really hope that through my post, my followers can see this, and especially the girls, right? That it is safe. If I'm nobody special, so if I'm doing this trip on a scooter while being a teacher and not so young age anymore and not with a lot of money. I can tell you that because everybody thinks that you need to be rich. No, I'm pretty broke all the time, and yet I'm managing to traveling around Italy, on a scooter, and I'm safe. Nothing bad happened to me, touching wood, and people are really, really welcoming and diverse. So I hope this message comes through.
I think you just touched on some very important points. People across the board, people worry about their safety, or safety is a concern. They think that they have to have a ton of money to see the world, and they are afraid that they might not fit in, or that they might not be able to do it, or that people won't be like them or look like them where they are. And maybe they don't look like you, and maybe they aren't exactly like you, but you just, solidified the fact that you can do something if you want to, and that you'll find support and help along the way. Life gets to surprise us when we allow ourselves the space to be surprised. I love that message. And I think more people need to hear it, scream it from the rooftops, because the world and its people are inherently kind. And so no matter what we find in the world through the news or through the media or through the stories, the reality is people are kind, So I love that this has been your experience.
Yes, they're kind, and at our core, we are not that different. It doesn't matter. I found myself in Myanmar, and we are all the same at our core, the same fears. Everybody fears that they don't fit in. Everybody, is scared of being alone or lonely. Everybody has their own fears, and we all have the same fears. But so we don't have to hide ourselves behind masks and say, oh, okay, I really want to look like I'm successful. Or like, this is why I try to be really, really honest in my posts. And this is also why maybe I shied away from monetizing my blog or finding sponsors, because everything that I show is true. Even the struggles. I mean, if you go through my posts, you can see me in the hospital. You can see me while fell down on the ground with my scooter. Okay. But it doesn't have to be a reason to fear or not to do stuff, because then we all go through the same stuff.
Yes. And those things can happen no matter where you are in the world. Yeah. That is not specific to traveling. That is just life. Those things do happen. And so getting close to time, and I want to ask one more question before we sort of wrap it up and move into the lightning round. And as you have stepped from one journey into the next and really designed the life of your dreams, what is the vision that you hold for your future? Like, at this moment, if you could pick your end game, pick your end goal, like, what is it that you want in this life full of travel and adventure?
I think I'm going to give you a very hippie, spiritual answer that maybe I would have never thought of giving you, even if you would have asked me just 1 year ago or 2 years ago. I think I always had the tendency to look outside and just decide what's my next plan, what's my next, big adventure. And this is very positive because it led me to be who I am now and to live through all these amazing experiences. But also my challenge is that I get distracted easily by all this planning, okay, all this logistics. And I forget to look inside of me a little bit more. And I think even in this scooter trip, it started with a specific purpose. And then I started to become more obsessed about the details, about the planning, about the logistics, about what's next, about where is my next destination. What if I interrupt this trip earlier? And then I never have the answer to these questions because they are not the right questions. I want to really focus on looking inside of myself and trying to stay balanced and centered and always be able to reassess the situation. So if this is not making me feel good right now, then what isn't working and, what can I change in order to make it work? And I think that it's no coincidence that I had to deal with this serious health issue in the last 6 months because I was going without taking the time to look inside of me and understanding if I was still on the right track. I was just, what's next? What do I do tomorrow? Let me see, what hotel do I have to book? Which city is next? Should I stay here? I was living like if it was a full-time job, also this one. And I was losing a little bit my spark. So, and this, I think it's something that I have in common with a lot of long-term travelers and digital nomads. How do you not lose the spark? So this is my goal and objective, always trying to stay focused and present within myself and in my life and understanding if I'm losing the spark, why, and what do I really want inside of me?
I love that answer so much. I think
in reality, the key really is remaining present to the moment. It's so easy as a human to try and plan ahead so far, but the reality is the only thing is the question that's directly in front of you. Like, what do you need to do right now? Like, what's the thing that sparks the most joy right now? And then that leads to a tremendously different life than trying to plan all the steps to get to something that you see 10 years down the road. So I think that that's a good lesson for all of us in life, is to ask ourselves and to reflect on how can we stay present? What brings the most joy right now? And do that thing. So yeah, that's fantastic. And so let's step into the lightning round. We have 3 quick questions. And the first question is, what is a travel tip or an inside scoop for your current location? So Tenerife.
Tenerife, I would say go to the north of the island. So the south is good if you have a family or if you want a lot of infrastructure, be comfortable, but you won't see a lot of the local life. So I'm always a huge advocate of, try to connect with the locals wherever you go, get the authentic recommendations. If you can speak a little bit of the language, that would go, a long way. If you have time, rent a car, go around the island, and especially go to the north, because this is where you will see, the real local life, the local people that they cannot afford living in the south anymore because of all the tourists. It's extremely diverse and different. Did you know that there are 16 microclimates in Tenerife in just one island? If you go to the north of Ireland, you will see luscious forests and waterfalls that one would never expect to find in an island in front of Africa. So that would be my tip for Tenerife.
That's a great tip. Question number 2 is
a book, or I will ask also possibly like a travel blog, something that has inspired you to design this life of your dreams.
Yeah, well, the first one I would have to praise Nomadic Matt, because he really inspired me a lot, both his travel blog and his book, How to Travel the World with $50 a Day. But also I really loved a book that is called The Geography of Bliss, 1 gram search for the happiest place in the world. That is really, really, really good and very nice. And, it tells you what we were talking about before. There is never about the place, but it's about the present and looking inside of you, what makes you happy in that moment. And you shouldn't be afraid to change. And also, I have to say, Tim Ferriss wrote a book that is called The 4-Hour Work Week. And that was also surprisingly inspirational.
Yes. I have interviewed at least 75 people at this point, and 4-Hour Work Week, I would say, is in at least 1/3, possibly, maybe more of inspiration. It's wild that he has inspired an entire generation of people to rethink how they work in the world. Like that, the long-term effects of that it's wild, like absolutely wild. And it's still popular. Like it's still influencing. We're on like a second generation of people that probably are, being inspired by this. So I think it's pretty amazing. Question number 3 is, what is something that you always travel with and you cannot live without?
Well, obvious, but my iPhone. I mean, my iPhone is my word because it allows me to take pictures, and Google Maps because I'm terrible at sense of direction, which is something that people always laugh about. Without Google Maps, I would be still in some, I don't know, jungle in the middle of Bolivia, probably, or something like this. I'm really terrible and I cannot live without Google Maps.
And then the last question is, what is the top of your bucket list for adventures or destinations?
And this is the most difficult question for me because what isn't on my bucket list? I live in constant state of FOMO, fear of missing out, and I want to go anywhere. But I would say on the very top, like I said, there is still South America. It's an amazing country. And I know that there are many different countries in South America, but everywhere I went, from Argentina to Chile to Patagonia to Bolivia to Colombia, they stayed in my heart. Maybe Colombia is where I want to go and live for a little bit longer. I also want to explore the remote beaches of Madagascar. So that's always the lifelong dream of mine. And then now that I'm on a scooter, I'm dreaming about the Silk Road with a scooter and a motorbike and then ending up in Mongolia. And the thought is there. I just have to see if I'm brave enough to do it because that's really next level hard. So we'll see. And I would also love to live in Georgia for a little bit, Georgia, the nation, and then just explore around like Azerbaijan and all these places there. I heard it's an amazing place where to live, so I would like to explore it.
Yes, to all of those.
Yes, I have to say, the Silk Road on a scooter, I feel like that could be a lifetime commitment. That would be a wild ride, but why not, right? Life's made to be lived, so why not get out there and do it? And where can people find you or work with you or connect with you online?
So right now, I'm mostly present on my travel blog on Facebook that is called Solo Vale Travel Blog. So Vale, like my name, Valentina, solo because I'm traveling solo, Solo Vale Travel Blog. And on Facebook, I spend more time writing into details, all the places, where I go to. On Instagram, with exactly the same username, Solo Vale Travel Blog, then I focus more on pictures and videos.
Well, thank you so much, Valentina. I love your story. I love your zest for life. And I love that you are a living example for people's dreams. And so thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for stepping into your bravery. And thank you for living this life less ordinary. It's an inspiration for all of us. So thank you for being you and doing what you do.
No, thank you so much, and for your nice words, and really for all the kind words that people feel like writing me on social media. They really made my day. I don't think I'm an inspiration for anybody because everybody has their own journey, but I always appreciate the kind words. So thank you so much.
Yes, and happy travels. There is so much about Valentina's story that I love, and here are the key takeaways. Number 1. How do you become a digital nomad? You start living the life of one before you actually understand how. Start earning money online. Start trying things out. See what works, and you'll live your way into that life. Number 2. You don't have to be, quote unquote, someone special to live a life of freedom and travel. It's available to anyone who has the desire to make it happen. Playing tourist in your own country allows you to see things that you wouldn't otherwise and bring a fresh perspective to your experiences. Looking at your country through a lens of positivity brings a whole new perspective. Number 4. At our core, we're all the same. Whether you're from China or Japan or Italy, we all have fears. Fears we don't fit in, or fears we're not successful enough. And we all have pain. There is no need to hide behind a mask because of it. Allow yourself to be you and to be free. and to experience all that life has, knowing that we're all the same. Number 5, happiness is an inside job. Looking inside ourselves to see what makes us happy and what changes we need to make if we find ourselves unhappy. This helps us stay present and live in the moment. Ultimately, you can find true joy through that process. The travel quote that I want to leave you with today is from Megan Whitman. And Megan said, "Do what you love and success will follow. Passion is the fuel behind a successful career." I think that is so true and so well said. And Valentina is a perfect example of that. She had a passion to see the world, and she had a desire to make change in her life. What she's created is a life that she loves, that gives her the freedom to explore, the freedom to have a job that fills her up, and a life that she is proud to live. She has learned how to live her way into a life that she only dreamed of before. And she did that by following her passion. Many times that passion may have other people questioning our sanity. Like, how could you give up an amazing job to travel the world and live an unknown life? You don't know what the results are from that. But you do know what the results are from your current cushy job. Sometimes in life, it's easy to forget that the unknown has the possibility to lead to even greater experiences in life. We know what the result is from the cushy job. We've lived that. What we don't know is if we try something else, what might happen. So live your way into the amazing moments of life. Say yes to that thing that scares you just a little. You never know what the magic is on the other side of that yes. Thank you for joining me today, my friends. I am so happy that you are here. I can't wait to be back next week. And until next time, thank you so much for showing up and listening to this episode. I know that there are so many things in life that you could be doing right now. And so it means a lot to me that you're here. There are so many more episodes coming your way. So if you enjoyed the show, please take a moment to review and follow us on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you know someone who might like to hear it, please share. Those little acts of kindness mean a lot and help more than you know. I appreciate your time and getting the opportunity to share this moment. I'd love to hear more from you. I'd love to connect, so reach out on social. You can find me on Instagram at Seafaring Wanderer. That's SeafaringWanderer. And then you can join our Facebook group at Design Her Travel Podcast. I would love to connect, hear more from you. Let me know what you'd like to hear more of, places you'd like to hear about, and things you'd like to know how to do when designing your life. So thank you, everyone, and I'll be back soon.